I'm going to hand it back to you, Chuck, for what do we have coming up here? The Sounders.
We've got our Sounders. Kind of an interesting slate here. The Sounders season getting back underway. That's what we talked about with this end of February, getting into some leagues again. The Sounders continuing their Concacaf Champions League tournament run here. We'll take a look. They played their first leg of the tournament in Motagua. It was a 0-0 draw, so there's nothing to go into it aggregate. You didn't have to worry about giving up a goal on the road. Winning that game on the 24th, 5-0. So taking care of business, the biggest win by an MLS team in that tournament ever. So two players of the game. Player of the game number one, midfielder Christian Roldan with a goal, an assist, and a shot on goal. The second one being other midfielder Nico Ladero, 1 goal, 1 assist, 1 shot on goal. Seattle advances to the quarterfinals. Well, they will play Club Leon, which is a rematch of the 2021 CONCACAF Champions League final. Seattle making all the way to that final, losing to Leon, so you get to maybe exact some revenge there.
Yeah.
But that was an important game just because the last few games of that season, I got my chance with the Sounders with a press credential to cover them. Those last 5 games, last 6. Those last 5, something seemed up. Seattle could not win one of those 5 games, and they lost their first round playoff meeting with Real Salt Lake. All in similar fashion. Seattle either got like 1 goal or was not able to put any points up on the board. I don't want to talk about that immediately because it ties into the team that we're going to talk about after this, the matchup that took place. But it really, that 5-0 game was really good to say, hey, this is the juggernaut Sounders that we know. With Albert Rusnak signing, Obed Vargas getting a start, a guy who's 16 and now has played 3 games. Those first 2 games, he played all 90 minutes at 16 years old.
Wow.
What were you doing at 16?
I can't even remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Way to age me again.
Not on purpose. But you've got it was a really, you think you got the monkey off your back, right? It's like, shake away whatever rust was there, shake away whatever demons you had, get back into it. If we go back here to scores, you see that game on the 27th, the MLS opener versus Nashville, losing 0-1. So, it's.
You said you felt something weird.
It feels like something is weird.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like the momentum isn't there.
No, because the Sounders notoriously have been, they haven't always been, how we talked about, teams when they hit the playoffs, the teams that are hot tend to do better, right? Like teams of destiny here and there, the Sounders never have really been that team. Last season they were in control of their destiny. If they won out, they didn't even have to win out. They won they won like 2 of those games, they would have been the first team in the Western Conference. Didn't win any of them. Draws and losses. So you end up second in the Western Division, having to play that first round. Instead of getting a bye and helping rest up some of your players, but something, it seemed different. Like the team was not itself. You've got all these high caliber players already before you sign Albert Rusnak. You've got, Nico Ladero was trying to get his feet under him, but still couldn't get through the season fully healthy. Jordan Morris was coming back. High talent. If he can reach his 2019-2020 form, it just continues to bolster this roster. João Paulo was an MVP finalist last season. The defense allowed some of I think they were top 3 in lowest goals allowed. This is a team that's, you've got great attack and you've got a great defense. What more can you ask for? Right. And they just played like there was a cloud over their head, not literally because of where we live.
Yeah.
Right. But it just seems like something was off. Like they weren't themselves through the end of this. That's how it looked last night against Nashville. There was no cohesion in the midfield. Despite all the talent you've got in the midfield, you weren't able to really get any dangerous chances until late. Going into like the 75th minute, Seattle didn't have a shot on goal. It's not good.
No.
And didn't really get a dangerous chance until it was too late and you're already given up a goal in the 80th minute. It's concerning. And some people might say it's early season. I get both sides of the coin in this debate, right? I get, hey, it's early season. Let them get going.
Team.
Let the season. Yeah, you've got some new guys to integrate. Let them play with each other. I get that. I also get, hey, something is wrong and has been wrong in just about every game except for you take that outlier of the Motagua game where you win 5-0. Something is
Yeah.
up. Whether that is coaching, whether that's personnel, whether that's the locker room, something is weird. And, if you want to live up to the expectation that is essentially an MLS Cup appearance alone, the minimum, you've got to get things figured out, because this is a league that has gotten more talented and more talented as it's gone on.
Mm-hmm.
We'll kind of touch on that with a league note that we've got. But I think you have to figure things out quick, because you've got the talent, you've got the roster, you have to figure it out. And Christian Roldan even talked about it in the post-game press conference. He said, we've got the tools. We need to figure it out. Because that's kind of an issue when you've grown used to the success of the Sounders, where it's making the playoffs every single year, winning 2 MLS Cups, winning a bunch of different hardware, going to the 2021 Concacaf Champions League final. Success is expected. It's not like, oh yeah, you have a losing season, it's okay. We're just happy. No, success is expected with this organization, and it's no different. Whether it's a new season, it's so.
I think that's what makes it so, that's what makes me so curious to know what that weird thing is, because we've had players before talk about the environment and the coaching staff and the players and just how everything feels so great. So to hear that there's something kind of lingering that's causing the team not to have as much success, you'd hope they figure it out soon.
And that's the thing. I couldn't tell you. It's not like there's anything with the organization that seems off or they're doing different. I mean, they just last 2 weeks ago or so, they announced the new training facility that'll be coming in 2 years. Something is off with the Seattle Sounders. What it is, I can't tell you, because I'm not in that locker room. But if they want to return to MLS Cup contention, they need to figure it out quickly before we get to a third of the way through the season. So with that, we have some injury news. This is always lovely. Forward Raul Ruidiaz, played in that Motagua game, but had to come off around the 60th minute due to a precautionary, was pulled out precautionarily with hamstring tightness. Mm-hmm. In the post-game press conference of that game, head coach Brian Schmetzer said it was precautionary, right? Did not play in the game against Nashville and is not expected to play in the game against Real Salt Lake. Yeah, I know he said that it was different than the injury that Raul suffered last season, but I mean, it's just like if you're somebody who gets stressed like me, it's just there's building, right?
Yeah, well, to me that just sounds like, well, this is what we're going to say for now until we know exactly how serious this is. So
I mean,
concerning.
He was there at the game in Nashville. I mean, he was talking to fans. That was great, but just hope that isn't something that, like last season, just kind of holds you out for a longer period of time and just kind of lingers. Mm-hmm. Just like, okay, get recovered, and then we'll move on. The good news is we have a returning forward. Will Bruin is expected to get back for the game against Real Salt Lake. Samuel Adeniran made the start up top for the Sounders last game, but he just kind of seemed out of place. He's young, so I wouldn't say it's just he's not good enough. He's still got a chance to improve, but having a more established center forward up the middle would certainly help you in your attack. So Will Bruin being back in will surely be a help, with the fact that Raul Ruidiaz will more than likely not be good to go for that Real Salt Lake game coming up. In league notes, I know we kind of touched on it.
Yeah.
The MLS commissioner spoke on Neymar's comments about coming to the MLS. Neymar essentially said, I'd love to go to the U.S. for a year. And he cited having 3 months of vacation due to a shorter season. Now, that's interesting because it's not exactly true. If we look at the league champions from last year, New York City, they got 6 weeks off. That's how much time they got to celebrate their championship. So that's obviously not every single team only getting 6 weeks, but this idea that the MLS has a smaller schedule compared, I know a lot of teams around the world play essentially year round. Mm-hmm. It's not exact. I mean, the Sounders season, we're end of February to they play around sometimes November. It's a lot of time, right? So I guess you technically have a couple months, but it's just this idea that Neymar essentially kind of was feeding into this idea of the retirement league with MLS, with Wayne Rooney retiring in the MLS. Zlatan Ibrahimovic did not retire after playing in the MLS, but it was kind of playing older and like, oh, I can go play in MLS and dominate those guys, right? You know, essentially what MLS Commissioner Don Garber said was that players should not come to the MLS with the intention to use it as a retirement league. There's a lot of younger talent. I know when Major League Soccer first started back, I think late 2000s, mid to late 2000s, that was a good idea, right?
Mhm.
You know, sell some tickets, sell jersey sales, get people, oh, hey, he's in the league. Yeah, exactly. That's not the case anymore. You know, it's kind of built. I mean, the culture here is great. Even Nashville, I don't like to say it. I think they're an expansion aside. They had a good amount of fans there yesterday. They filled out their supporter section that Lumen Field leaves for this away team.
I mean, that doesn't necessarily tell me that you want to come here and work hard and like play soccer, that it's the vacation that you're looking at, and that's what's enticing you. So I think I back Garber's comments here.
Yeah, so I don't really care if he comes. I mean, it would be a big deal if he showed up in the Western Conference, because it's like, oh, it's probably someone else we have to deal with.
Yeah.
I don't really care if he does or not, and it's not like I'm like, oh, yes, Neymar, please. It doesn't matter anymore. We've got, obviously, with the way our Sounders are going right now, we've got our own problems to deal with, So they sit at a 0-1 record. They stand tied for last in the league. But why don't you tell us what's going on next week for them?
Yeah, so looking ahead, March 6th, we have a game at Real Salt Lake. That's a tip-off of 3 p.m.
Yes, so playing the team that knocked you out of the playoffs last season in the first round, maybe some revenge there. But again, just my main sticking point is focusing on getting back to who you are. You have to play Seattle Sounders football, play that game the way that it's been played in Seattle for the last 11 seasons, where you've made the playoffs 11 seasons. So
before those 5 games where it sounds like they've been in somewhat of a funk.
Yeah. So hopefully working to figure that out.